Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rounding the Bases podcast. Tom Coons, along with Chad Porter and Zach Cart. We're here on this beautiful August 3rd evening. What a day today was. It was gorgeous outside here in Alabama. I could actually go outside and not have to worry about if the concrete was going to be too hot to step on. It was actually nice. But in the middle of recruiting, college baseball, the Little League World Series is on. I mean, there's baseball at race car tracks. There's softball is ending up their league. And Chad, get us started. What do you want to talk about tonight for the people watching now?
How messed up amateur baseball is. I can't get. I'm not going to apologize to anybody out there, but at some level, you watch the Little League World Series, and you're like, that could be the purest form of baseball we have. That could be the purest form of baseball we have.
And even that is starting to get really commercialized.
It is. So, okay. So I had a conversation with Mr. Cart here to my right or to my left, depending on how you're viewing this, about player development the other day. Okay. Now, we were talking about fall ball. Okay. And I think there's a lot of good stuff with fall ball. And I went through my mind and I said, when is the most improvement I made as a baseball player in my life? When is the biggest improvement? And by far, the biggest improvement that I ever made as a baseball player, okay, was in the summer of my 10-year-old year. Okay, this is no lie. When I was 9, so I come from a divorced household. So dad was 40 minutes away. So here I am throwing balls off a brick wall and catching them and swinging and watching the Atlanta Braves every night. And, WGN had the Cubs on during the day. So I'm watching those guys. I'm a diehard Cincinnati Reds fan, always have been. Pete Rose was the guy. This is how you play the game. Not necessarily, they didn't teach me how to gamble. But anyway, my point is this. I watched baseball players and I emulated them. Okay. And I didn't go to 9 tournaments every summer and play 15 games a weekend. I wasn't a fill-in player for a team. I didn't have a swing coach. And I know times have changed. Okay. I didn't have any equipment, to be quite honest with you. I had a hand-me-down glove. I bought Franklin batting gloves at Kmart with money that I saved. And my cleats, I was terrified to ask my parents if I could have cleats because I thought they'd get in a fight. Okay. They're divorced. All right. Just being honest. So, with that being said, I had everything in the world I needed. However, here's what I did that summer. I was a horrible baseball player at 10 years old. Horrible. But I loved the game. I had a good group of friends, 5 or 6. We literally played wiffle ball, and this isn't exaggeration. We played 3-on-1 baseball games. Okay. We stayed up late at night and watched the Braves. I listened to the Reds on radio, and we either played with a rubber ball and a bat or wiffle ball. And we would load up the wiffle ball bats with newspapers, or we would use regular bats. Now, here's the deal. There's an idea in education, and we use this in physical education, as I am a physical educator these days after my 20-year college baseball career. However, unstructured play. See, we get into all these, you got to have 9 data points in order to hit a baseball 200 feet. And we've got to have all this and we've got to have all that. Here's what we've forgotten about. We've forgotten about the idea of unstructured play. And what I mean is going out there and finding a way to do it. Now, are all the other things good? Sure, they're good. Are all the other things this and this? But how many times do you hear kids these days talk about unstructured play? So, like, I would go out and watch. I would be like, well, today I'm going to try to be like Barry Larkin. Today I'm going to try to be like Eric Davis. Tomorrow I'm going to try to be like Dale Murphy because I saw him play last night. Unstructured play, no pressure, competing against each other, having no care in the world. We've completely gotten away from that. Completely gotten away from that. Drive down the neighborhoods and very few kids. We kept our own stats. I was talking, so Coach Coons, I was on the phone with you the other day and I was in my athletic director's office. Chilling out. I'd been dragging the field when you called me. We had talked about before, not that day. I'm just using my athletic director as an example. We kept stats. We kept our own stats. Unstructured play, we kept our own stats. Like, I think I hit 8 home runs with a rubber ball one year. When I went back, when I went back the next year to Little League, or even later that summer, we did something. We like played an all-star team or something. It was like a scrimmage. I had improved. I remember the improvement that I made. I went from like playing right field to like playing shortstop. And they're like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "Every single day, I have fun. I just go out and I play." Now we've gone from that to the madness. And I don't have to talk about specific madness. All you got to do is get on social media. Now, is all of it bad? No. Is all of it good? No. There's obviously it's somewhere in between. But we never talk about unstructured play opportunities with players anymore. All the old time big leaguers, what would they talk about? All we did was play. Unstructured though. Now here's what's happening. All these kids are playing structured, and at 17 years old or 14 years old going, I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to play anymore.
You're right. You're right.
I'm 100% right. Now, is there exceptions to the rule? Of course. There's never any always, and there's never any nevers. Are there some great things going on in amateur baseball? I love some of the stuff that's going on. I love it. Is there some really bad stuff going on in amateur baseball? I loathe it. I told Coach Cart the other day, I am a girl dad. I don't know how I would navigate the scene with boys. I just don't. Now, they would probably be baseball addicts like we are, and I'm cool with that. But we never talk about unstructured play. Ever. Nobody ever bring structured play. That's how I got better. I didn't have 4 coaches. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. I didn't see a video of myself swing a bat until I was 18 years old.
I was the same route because I wouldn't have had anybody hold the camera. You know, it's parents now spend a semester of college in money just on fall ball or just on other stuff. You know, in hotel stays and everything else that's going on. It's amazing the amount of money that transpires. I remember now I'm a little bit older than you guys. Well, I'm a lot older than you guys, but I remember jumping on my bike, riding to the Little League park for a game in my jeans, the T-shirt I was given, and the hat. When I got to high school, there weren't aluminum bats at that point, but I used to go to a sporting goods store in the next town down from where I lived. They'd let me go upstairs because they were a huge sporting goods store. They did major league bats and everything. And I could go up there and pick out 5 baseball bats for $5 a piece.
You know what?
$5 a piece.
You know what? I didn't have my first indoor batting indoor baseball practice until I was a freshman in high school during tryouts. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world to hit in a batting cage. Guys, that might have been one of the first times I had ever hit in a batting cage. Now, obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. You need batting cages, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying how times have changed. But once again, unstructured play. We hit rocks, we hit apples, we hit whatever. Unstructured play. Through softballs. We ran out of baseballs, we used softballs. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, the biggest improvement I ever made as a player, probably till I got to in college, once we hit the weight room really hard and did this and this, obviously you grow, you get kind of man strength and you get better. But then, I'm 22 years old and playing my last
right.
So unstructured play. It was unstructured, but it was structured at the same time. Think about it.
Right.
Because you were trying to win. Like I was trying to beat the opponent. Even though it was, a situation where, it wasn't a real game. It was real to us. And we were trying to beat our opponent. Like every time I threw the ball from the pitcher's mound or the makeshift pitcher's mound, I was trying to strike out my buddies. And guess what I did? I tried to figure out how to strike them out.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Zach, what about you? Now, you're on the other end of the spectrum a little bit because you train kids and you have a team. You have a son who's going to be a very good player. Where's your thought process here?
Yeah, and so, Tom, I feel like we grew up in the same town, even though I know we didn't. My goal when I was growing up, our baseball park was 2 miles from our home. And my goal was, how am I going to get to the ballpark? Because at that time, mom and dad didn't care if I went to the park all day and hung out. I mean, it was okay.
Which is a different
now it's just not like that
too,
Yeah. And so I think that as coaches, we got to look at opportunities and how to enable that. We have to enable that open play. One of the things that I used to do that I love to do in our travel organization is we would have different age groups come in at the same time. And so if we had, 10U and 11U, we'd roll a practice with those guys together. Hey, we're going to split you by position and let's just play ball.
Right.
And then we're going to stop and teach you situational aspects of the game, but we just want to play, enjoy yourselves, have fun. And a lot of our coaches in our organization, they still do that. I see a lot of our chatter, and I talk to our coaches quite a bit, but we still try to do that. One thing I was talking to Coach Porter about is open fields. Even in high school, I think we underutilize that a little bit, just because hey, roll them out and play. Even if there's somebody feeding a hack attack, you're starting with a 1-1 count in an open field situation where anybody can come and go as they please. Let's roll them out and play. Let's just show up and play. I think that's really, coaches talking about unstructured play, and that's what makes it fun. A lot of these guys lose it because they're going to tournaments every weekend. They're in those situations that really what we would consider high leverage situations all the time. And they're not just playing and having a little bit of fun. I mean, I'm not one of the, marshmallow, we're going to have fun all the time, but at the same time, there's nothing that I enjoyed more than our, Blue-White World Series when I played at OVU for Coach Porter in the fall. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, in buddies against buddies, I mean, we were college buddies, but I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed that time of the year just because we played a bunch of ball games in a 45-day window.
Yeah, it was fun. There was a winner and a loser. Remember that,
Right.
Even though there were structures, we kind of allowed the players to set the structure.
Yeah.
We
Right.
served as guardrails, right? Hey, you need to stay
Yeah.
on course here. But I for 20 whatever years, most of the time I would go and sit in the press box. And the one year, I don't know if you'll remember this. The one year, our university president had been a Division I umpire, and he came an umpire,
Yes.
like
Dr.
like the last game. And I brought the guys in, because I mean, like in a competitive situation, we talk about this a lot too. You get in a competitive situation, guys get a little red every once in a while. I mean, you compete, there's a winner and a loser. And I'm like, gentlemen, if you do anything, and it was great. It was like a 3-1 9-inning game with no errors, and the other team maybe had lined out a couple of times. It was just a really well played, fun game. But even in those unstructured times as kids, there was always a winner and a loser, and you took pride in winning and losing, and the competitiveness of it.
Right.
And like, you figure out a little bit about yourself. I actually think, what's the guy at 108 Performance?
Eugene Bleecker.
I've heard him talk about unstructured play before, I believe.
Yep.
I could be completely wrong. But like,
He talks a lot about wiffle ball swings. He talks a lot about wiffle ball swings.
So, as a kid, I mean, think about it. You're throwing all these different types of baseballs from all these different angles. Like, all right. I saw Sean Dunston throw across the infield sidearm the day before to WGN, right? And I'm running around and throwing sidearm that day, and then I get the little league practice, and maybe I get yelled at a little bit because I'm going to hurt myself, whatever. But my point is, like, I can remember getting in the batter's box after watching the Reds the night before, and Joe Oliver, the Reds catcher, how he would loosely, tension-free, relax, get in the batter's box. And I emulated that. And when I started doing that, I started like hitting. Also, would daydream. We all daydream. So I would daydream about being a big leaguer at 10 years old. And guess what? That's visualization. These people listening might think I'm a nut job, but I'm telling you right now that we talked about this the other day. How many of our players, we'll stand there and dugout, like, how many players can name 5 big leaguers? Current. Okay. Here's the other thing. Players think I'm nuts when Coach Cart and I were talking, and I'm like, I watch. So if you add up all the baseball I watch in one day. Now remember, I'm a baseball addict. People, not everybody is, and I tell, fine. I just tell people, like, all right, whatever, you're not going to agree with me. I would say on average, I watch 7 to 9 innings a day.
Oh, yeah.
Then in the winter, I follow the winter leagues, and I will routinely. So Coach Cart and I will go do lessons on Saturday mornings. I'll have hitters, I'll have catchers, and it's the funnest time in the world. And then we will go to our high school facility and have an open cage, and kids will just show up. And in Ohio, you're allowed 6 players per coach, and it's like 2 guys will come up and they're like, hey, will you work with me on backhands? Hey, will you work with me on this? And it's like unstructured, it's loose, they improve, it's fun for everyone. And I just think that I don't fully remember where I was going with that point, but you got to watch the game, you got to learn the game. I'm watching Nicaraguan winter ball games, walking on the treadmill, sending these guys pictures.
Right.
Mexican League, it costs money, but every once in a while you can back into a game on YouTube. Dominican League, obviously, you got to get like an MLB subscription. But like,
Yep.
I've watched Venezuelan games. I've watched, and you can watch them all. And so 300 and however many days a year, you know, you're watching the game, you're learning the game, you develop a love for the game. Unstructured time is when you learn, you know, a lot. Been thinking a lot about that lately.
You know, and
Yeah.
I think, you know, whether it's baseball or softball, I mean, I think that, you know, that just adds to either sport, just making you a better player and a better person.
We used to go to the field, little league fields, right? I mean, this was hard. You never even see kids showing up and playing like home run derby anymore. We used to go to the little league fields when we were, you know, 13. I still wouldn't hit a ball at a ballpark, and we would have home run derby, and then the last ball of the round was a bonus ball, and it was a Jugs yellow dimple. But
It was a bouncy ball, basically.
That's right.
but that,
It was a bouncy ball, basically.
yeah,
That was
so
all Super Bowl.
it's like the old NBA 3-point competition. I'm not a basketball guy, but I just kids in general, it's like, you know, loving the game, and you know, there's a lot. I mean, do you remember as kids staying up and watching those World Series games so late?
How about the World Baseball Classic? It's coming up. I mean,
And the World Baseball Classic is one of my favorite things. I mean, I think it's outstanding. But I'll leave you with my piece of this. When I was 12, and I vividly remember this like it was yesterday, I played on a really good team. I missed the first 2 games of the season because I had chicken pox. Okay, so I remember we played in the Guernsey County Championship game and got beat. 12 years old. I cried, not only because we got beat and it was the championship game, but because baseball was over. Okay?
Right.
A lot of kids these days and their parents, that was like our 15th game of the year, 16th game of the year. Johnny needs a break. Well, how old is he? 10. His team, though, went 55-12. Like, listen, I got news for everybody. There's guys in rookie ball that don't play 67 games. And if you take a break from it, I mean, like, come on. Guess what? I know it's a different world, but I went into football. And, you know, I've told Coach Clark this before, if we had fall baseball when I was a kid, would I have played fall baseball instead of football? I think there's a good chance, just because I love the game. But I will tell you this. Come Halloween in the World Series, I was ready for baseball season again. I'm going to tell you that much right now. I was ready for baseball season. I was never not ready, because 16 games and 2 practices a week was probably just right. I didn't play 70 to 90 games in a season until I was 21 years old. And your son was probably the same, Tom. Like, I went on a summer tour my junior into my senior. I went on a summer tour. We figured it out. A summer tour, the regular season and fall ball, and you're talking like 80 games. I was exhausted at 21 years old after that last fall ball game. Now, we were also waking up at 5:30 in the morning and running, and then going to practice, and then running and doing plyometrics after practice. My teammates, you know, my roommate, Matt Miller, coach of Frankfort High School in West Virginia, runs one of the best programs in the state, emerging programs. Like, we would run in the morning, practice, then run after. And I loved it. But I'm going to tell you something. After 75 or 80 games or whatever we figured it out, and all the travel involved, at 21 years old, getting ready to turn 22 with 1 year after college, I was exhausted. And I wanted to play professional baseball.
Plus, there's a point in time, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong here, where you're playing all these games and it's going pretty good. And guess what? You play the next wave of those games and it starts to go the other way. And because your body's tired or it's a lot of play, and you sometimes kids just never recover from that. It just keeps going down, 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 and it does more harm than good, or what you want to get out of it. You know, I was a three-sport athlete in high school. My son was too. I wouldn't change that for anything. I liked it. I liked being able to go from football to basketball to baseball.
Coach Hart was a three-sporter. I was a two-sport, but you know what? Playing football made me a better baseball player.
Oh, no question about it.
Playing football made me a better baseball player.
And the other thing you've got to keep in mind, and Coach Carter will know this, if you're in shape to play football, don't think you're in shape to play baseball. Don't think you're in shape to play basketball. It's all three different things.
Yep.
You know, so you've got to work, time management, get ready for the next one. And that's what kept it lively for me, is because you enjoyed three different things. You enjoyed the break. You loved what you did, but it also kept you going because you had to prepare.
Yep.
Well, in closing, Zach, give us something in closing. What's your words?
I mean, really, right now, I mean, I think there's a lot of focus, and Coach and I have talked about this, you know, from a mental aspect, right? Lot of mental focus, and you know, Coach talked about unstructured play. That put us in a different mental mindset than what people deal with today. There's a lot of social media. There's a lot of pressure. Social media, not just from a social perspective, but also from a game perspective. And so those are different things that you have to acclimate and train yourself to. I mean, if you know, we were having a conversation the other day about, we're talking 2027s are on the board now. And so 2028s, you know, what are you doing? How are you identifying, number one, the schools you want to go to and what you're comfortable with? And then also assessing, you know, where you fit and where you belong.
I mean, I think that leads into what we do with our company here.
Bingo.
It's a perfect fit for an inexpensive investment.
Yep.
Chad?
I couldn't agree more. Starting to get phone calls from guys that I've seen over the summer that through their coaches that know what we do about playing and like I'm talking about, like, I'm starting dialogue with a couple of like players who I was impressed with this summer that didn't play for me.
Right.
Who have no idea what they're doing in the recruiting process. None.
It's changed so much in a year.
Yeah. So,
you know,
let us help you. This is and we have, and I'm going to leave. I'll leave everybody with this. Our contacts are on our cell phones. They're personal. We have relationships with these people. We use them not only to recruit kids to find places, we use them as resources to help navigate this, by the way. So it's like I call up Coach such and such at school X, and I say, look, tell me a little bit more about this NCAA rule. Tell me a little bit more about this. And they tell you. And then they typically compare it to how it was 4 years ago when I was still in college baseball.
Right.
So with that being said, give us a call. No frills. Here's another word I've been using a lot lately. Eyewash. No eyewash. No eyewash. What you see is what you get. No eyewash. There's no guarantees. There's no ocean. There's no, pot of gold. Nothing. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you everything we have from a knowledge base over decades. It's not perfect, but we're going to give you everything we have. We're going to make the relationship personal.
Right.
And here's the deal. Nobody's perfect. And that includes me with the 58,000 mistakes I make every single day. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, if we need an answer, we know where to go to get it, because I don't have all of them, but I'll find it. There's enough people in this cell phone from conference commissioners of NCAA conferences, Division I assistant coaches, MLB scouts, just that we've met along the way. Not that I'm not saying we're like best friends and talk every day and I make up some story about how we text every day and this guy got me tickets so I could see, such and such at a ballpark and blah, blah, blah. And then when we call him, he doesn't know my name. One of those deals. No. Relationships with people. Respect. That's what we're saying. And we're not afraid to ask for information, and we're not afraid to tell you, wait, I don't have that answer. Here's what I think. Let's find out. And we're going to develop that, and we're going to make sure that that's what we can promise you, that effort. Can't promise you anything else. Can promise
I think
that effort.
I think we've gotten that reputation a little bit. Now, I'm just looking at my cell phone. You can't see it on screen, but since last Thursday to today, I've gotten 5 emails from coaches. Coach Coons, we're looking for a shortstop. Do you have anybody in mind? There's a pitcher, another one for an outfielder. Here's one for a catcher. And they're starting to email and ask, both baseball and softball, if we have anybody in that pot, that pot of players. And, right now, Coach Cart mentioned it. Sophomores, this is your day. Actually, your day was 2 days ago, because now you can be contacted. You're officially on the recruiting. Coaches can call you. They can text you. They can do whatever. August 1, that was your day.
Yep.
So if you want to get in on a start with any 3 of us here, now's the time to contact us. Because I'll tell you right now, colleges went through the NIL or the transfer portal. They've recruited 26s. Now they're starting to look at 27s. They're going to still contact 26s, of course, because they're still in school. But they're now compiling their list of 27s. That's where we can get your name on that list.
Yep.
Well, I think that was a great topic. I mean, it was, I'll be honest with you. I'm so ancient. I don't think we had travel ball when I was back in the day. Our travel ball was your parents driving you to school for practice later that night. That was travel. But it makes a difference. It makes a difference. It comes to a point and like Chad and I have said this many times, the price we get for our service, first of all, our service is free. If you just fill out that questionnaire, it's free. And we will tell you what we're going to do. And then all you got to do is work with us and tell us what you'd like to do. And I just went playing on the internet the other day. I don't see anything out there that offers. There's some that'll offer what we want, but if you want to pay the $2,000 and do it, go ahead. It's going to be the same thing. We do it for a lot less. And we got 3 minds here who have been in this game for a long time, and we have a great success rate where we're working with kids. So, I mean, that's what you got to look at. But we'll be on here again next week. Coach Porter and Coach Cart will get together. If you've got a topic you would like us to talk about, whether it be something softball, something baseball, something mental game, anything you want, email it. Go to our website at headaccountrecruiting.com. Our email is on there. We answer every email we get. Give us some topics. We'll talk about it. We'd be more than happy to talk about it. We'd be more than happy to have you come on with us and talk about it. We'll do that. And have a good time. So, guys, thanks for being on again tonight. And we'll see everybody next week. Thanks for watching.